So Monday, May 16th, 5:10 p.m. Board of Selectmen meeting. When we are opening the meeting. How many articles do we have left to do? About 19? So when Paul gets here, he's very picky about how we motion things. He doesn't want us reading a whole motion like in past practice, because if we mess it up, we have to read it. So pretty much you would be asking for a motion to accept Article 43 based on how it's printed in the annual town warrant.
Not in the warrant.
Or in the handout.
Move it as printed in the handout.
All of them are going to be printed in the handout? What's left?
They're all printed.
Okay.
All the motions are.
It's important because the warrant doesn't have designations on cash where the money's
Okay.
coming from. So what these do.
So we'll do it printed in the handout, and then one of us will move it.
Okay.
Somebody needs to second it.
Okay.
And then,
Should we, oh, sorry.
No.
Do we divide up who moves what, like ahead of time?
if you want to, or somebody can just move and somebody can second, because that's fine too.
If we want to share the workload, or have one person do, or whatever you
So
guys.
typically what happens in doing this is you move, usually whoever's article it is, it doesn't really matter who does it.
Sure.
It doesn't matter who seconds it, as long as it gets on the floor.
Right.
But the person who put the article in gets first crack at discussing it. So your article, you get to say, okay, this is what it's all about.
I think,
And then the finance committee gets to make their recommendations, and then it's all for
oh yeah, that's gonna be good. You're gonna remember to ask for finance and selectmen recommendations. No, we remind Bert.
Oh, yeah, I had the note, but he didn't need a cheat sheet.
He didn't
No.
need
No,
to cheat.
He
no,
crumbled it up and said, I don't need to get that out of here.
So I told the department heads, like I talked to the chiefs and stuff, and told them that we would move it and second it, and then they could come up and talk. It would just be easier
You talked
for
to
them. When I talked to the chiefs, they said,
Police and fire.
Oh, okay.
because also some of our department heads don't live in town, so they said that they can't move it, so we would have to
Police
move it.
chief can't move it, but by law, he's allowed to speak.
Yeah, so they'll come up and speak after we second it over it.
So he'll get the opportunity, if you're on the police one, if you want to make that motion.
Yeah.
And then whoever seconds it, then ask for explanation. And he'll probably say that we'll have a lot of police chiefs speak, and he'll explain it. So
Yeah.
that's the smoothest way to do it. And then that way, you don't have to try to ask him.
Right. Okay.
You think we'll finish tonight?
We hope.
If we get more, we're gonna finish tonight.
Yeah.
So, this is a pet peeve of mine, but technically the very last motion is a motion to dissolve the town meeting. So if we get to the final part, we're going to look for the board of selectmen, the chairman, I guess, right? So we
I guess so.
we're going to make a motion to dissolve the town meeting, and that ends the town meeting.
Okay.
So, just so you know.
Yep.
I'm asking that. Do I have a choice? I'm going to that.
And Ashley, Ronnie, at the beginning of the meeting, I'm just gonna open the meeting and then just ask for us to order business at the point.
Yeah.
For this meeting.
Right, and then we have to have everyone vote on that. And then you're gonna go over the election results.
Yes, I am reading the election results.
You what?
Reading the election results. Which are, to
Well,
tell
the
council about
results of article, whatever.
46, because we never got to 46 at the first meeting. So we asked today and they said we should, just as to cover ourselves, we should read it. So should I read the articles and then do the appointment of moderator?
Luckily, the clerk can run the meeting, she can run.
I
the meeting.
really don't want
I know you.
I think we
that's why
have,
I've been called at 1:30.
to. Yes.
I think we should do the moderator
Can run the
first.
meeting.
Right. Do you want to do the articles
No,
first?
do the moderator first.
Moderator
Because Paul
first.
said we cannot start a meeting without a moderator, so we need to make sure everyone votes for him to be
If you do
moderator.
it that way, then you just raise your hand or whatever, so Mr. Moderator, I want to address article.
Do you want to go back? What do you want to do?
There's a microphone, right?
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
acoustic. Usually the officials, like the clerk, selectmen, or finance committee,
get comfortable.
If you want, but most of the, because you're doing so much of it,
Sure.
you can just address
That's
everything.
all Hawaiian.
We'll save you the head of the table.
Did you want to go there? Or would you-
Unless you don't want to sit near us.
Comfortable.
Well, I understand everybody's sick, so I'm nervous
I
to.
don't know,
I don't know why that seat's available.
You can slide it back.
You're stuck next to me, Paul. This is our council. Paul Dorset,
Paul, I don't know if we're shaking hands.
Alex
Jonathan
Mead,
Seelig.
John Bailey.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Alex. Alex Mead. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Here's our interim or acting moderator. So graciously,
John
A long
graciously.
time ago, Paul, we probably don't.
Former selectman as well.
Okay. You look familiar, so. Where are you on things?
We literally just opened it 5 minutes ago. We were just talking about how to move motions the way that you would like us to by saying that as printed in the handout instead of reading the whole motion.
Yes. So the idea is if you read the motions and mess it up, transpose things, leave stuff out, it makes a mess. So it's much better to say, for the moderator to say, can I have a motion in the form that's set forth in the whatever you call it, motion packet. And have somebody say, I so move. Don't have them read the stuff. Too many errors creep in.
Stop that music.
So you have to be elected at town meeting. Has he been appointed by the,
Yes, Sue, you got a letter from Bert, right?
It's a can, yeah. I got an email from her.
Okay, yeah.
great, so he's appointed you, but you still have to be elected by the voters. So the first thing would be, I guess, either the chair or for Sue to say that you've been designated as the moderator's deputy and ask for a vote to appoint him moderator pro tem, P-R-O-T-E-M. He's a temporary moderator for the meeting. So there needs to be a majority vote. Someone else could run, but you got the blessing of the current moderator. The moderator's been elected by the people.
Usually not. See, somebody else wants, usually no one wants to
Yeah.
do it.
I know.
Everybody takes a step backwards.
I don't even know if you first did the hundred with them. You might have to have
So what else can I help with?
All right, so do you want to go through the reading articles?
Sure, and can we talk to council about our idea as far as department heads to speaking to?
That's
So-
part of it.
Just the fact that, I know in the end here, like, I don't know, it's a narrative we've been having in the past meeting, our selectmen say the narrative. We were hoping that maybe if it's okay to do what we used to do in years past, to have the actual department head speak the narrative.
Absolutely.
So that way, if there's any sort of issue, or they want to get to any underlying details, that a very knowledgeable person that put this article together will be able to answer.
Absolutely.
Okay,
That wasn't really his call. That was the call to me.
okay. I just wanted to check and make sure that was okay.
So that being said, I talked to most of the department heads. I just have to talk to a couple more as they roll in, but I think everybody's willing to go back to the way it was supposed to be last Sunday.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, before I forget, I have this orientation for new selectmen, and would very much like to schedule a time for each of you separately. I want to review, like if there are any disclosures you need to make
Okay.
with the town clerk regarding your businesses or whatever you do in the town, relationships, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And give you a little bit about open meeting law, that you can't be talking to each other and all this kind of stuff about business. It's about an hour and a half. doesn't have to be done all at once. You can do a half hour here, half hour there, you can do the whole thing at once. But it needs to be private, one-on-one.
Sure.
Because I'm looking for information that you may not want anybody else to know. It's an attorney-client privilege. You know, so if you're planning to sue the town,
I think we're over that.
this is the time
I
to
think we're
talk.
off that.
You know, so I can do a disclosure form for you before you sue the town, you get it all right up front,
Sounds good.
all that kind of stuff.
And you're great on the curve.
Well, there'll be a quiz at the end.
Oh,
No, I'm
great.
only kidding, there's no quiz. But sorry, I didn't mean to distract you from that, but I wanted to meet you, both of you.
Appreciate it. No, I see it.
Congratulate both of you.
Thank you.
And hopefully I can get you up and running quick as possible. So it's not just a legal presentation, but it's also a practical presentation. I've been a selectman for 27 years, I still am. And I've been a chair for 7 years, all that kind of stuff. And I've been sued, all this kind of stuff, so I can help you learn how to do this.
Great.
It's like anything else in life. It's like somebody telling you want to play tennis and you've never played tennis before. Before you go out there and try to figure out which end of the racket you hold. In an hour and a half, I'll try and tell you. When you hold the handle and you swing.
You don't want to see me play tennis.
I'm sure you'd be great at it.
No.
You're bad.
No. I'm right.
Really bad.
It's okay when I read the article 46, I just read who won the race. Who won the race? Like who won? Or do I have to read all the results?
On Article
46, but
Just read the results.
the town election results.
Yeah, really, I've never done that. I've
Yeah.
never done that before, so I've never seen it done. I just wanted to work that way.
Okay.
So you're gonna open the meeting and then immediately move and have me appointed and
Correct. And then once you're on the podium, I'm just going to say, Mr. Moderator, I'd like to do the results.
We want to go over the articles.
Yeah, I don't know how to do so right now.
I think we should.
Like the other night, you guys are just gonna go back and forth, you know what I mean? But,
Yeah. But now we have 3 of us.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love it.
We just go by the numbers, you guys can just go by the numbers that are in your, now after your book is totally full, because I didn't have to read.
That's okay.
Theirs are just, you have to go the articles we
Right.
have left, so I think, you know.
I think Article 1, I have your email too, I'm gonna go through it.
Oh, right,
Hold on.
like, first one,
Okay, so you said.
first one 9, I read that from the big books all day.
Alright,
So number 9,
Article 9.
yeah, so.
Then. Board of Selectmen, so it's left.
And again, we're just saying as printed in the handout.
We don't say that, he says that, we just move it. So one of us would say so moved, and one of us would second it.
We would like Article 1.
Whoever that says has to read the narrative.
I think I'd rather have the, whoever's making the motion say, move as printed in the warrant, so I don't think
As
below
in-
that, that's the way it should be done.
So you're gonna ask for the motion then?
Yeah, oh yeah, so she'll call it Article 9 or whatever, then whoever, if it's on the selectmen, board of selectmen, will say, we move as written in the handout, second, and then go on from there.
I think we're gonna have to move all of them, I don't think anybody's gonna know to do what we're doing.
I mean, as long as far as just making the motion, it's really not that big a deal. It just has to get on the floor, so, and by doing it this way, like Council says, there's no confusion and mixed up with this, right? So we know it's coming, but not every time, so much money's coming out of the tax side. So, as opposed to, in years past, people would try to do that by saying the whole motion, they all mixed up. So this is better, but whoever, but it doesn't matter who makes the motion, it doesn't matter. The more important thing is who gets to speak to it first. Technically would be whoever's article, because it's their article.
Just flip it.
Yeah. So,
But if the board of selectmen wants to do that, that's, I'm more than
I mean, we're gonna have to move all of them,
Right.
because
Yep.
that's what they're,
Well,
that's what
we don't have to, because I can make an announcement at the beginning, if you want, and say, this is how we're going to handle the process. We're going to make it, move an article, we're going to say, I want to move the article as written in the handout, unless you can change it, in which case,
There is one more.
I think it's just gonna be easier if with every article you ask for a motion, one of us says we move it as printed, or I move Article 9 as printed in the handout, one of us will second it, and then let's say it's elementary school, we can ask somebody to come up and speak to the article.
Read the narrative.
Correct.
That way we're not
Yep.
getting stuck up on the tongue
it
twister.
doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, as long as it gets on the floor.
Yep.
You have to change for Article 19. Sorry, skipping ahead. But that one is not as printed in the
Yes.
handout.
So Article 19 is, where is it? Where are they
So
gonna see
Alex does not have it. And
Okay.
so do we have a copy machine here?
This one
Is there
says,
something behind
transfer
it?
Is there something behind it?
Yeah.
So, did you get, you didn't get this, let me go make a copy.
Of this page right here?
Yeah. So, the price went up. We can't take the full amount out of free cash. So it went up to
So I have two of these.
220,000, so 200,000
Okay, so,
is coming from free cash. 20,000 is coming from this.
Okay.
So what did you get, what do you have for an email compared to that?
who's going to do that?
I'm assuming now that they want to move all the articles.
Okay.
So this is
So
the
this
one,
has to be
this
read.
This one, right.
is when you're going to have to say exactly what you want.
Yeah.
So, we moved that $200,000 transferred from undesignated fund revenue and $20,000 from raise and appropriate. And then to be spent by the board of selectmen, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You have to read the whole thing out.
Who wants to read the whole thing?
You got it, Alex?
Yeah, I'm watching, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I watch
will
too.
watch.
I mean, honestly, people have made mistakes, I can't.
Yeah, I know, Alex is
I
flying
know,
blind here.
oh, poor Alex.
Yeah, we're flying blind.
You three would probably do better job than Steve, and all that.
Wow.
Get himself-
Yeah.
He does have a copy of this, but yes.
Sure.
But that, so, that's the change.
So that's the one we have to read there on 19.
Yeah,
Right,
so
that's
Alex
the
will
only
read it,
Alex, you got it? Got
one of us will second it.
And the rest are as printed in the
You know,
Yeah.
you have it written up.
I know, I keep doing
I know.
the
No, he's getting it, I'm thinking it.
Yep.
So just,
Okay,
say that,
If they don't have it, I'll give them.
undesignated revenue is free cash.
Undesignated.
Raise and appropriate is coming out of tax levy. So it's two
Yeah.
funds, and that they have to be specifically,
I think we have it in front of you, so read it.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do. They had us put it in free cash in the treasury of the town. And 20,000 be raised and appropriated from 2023 tax levy.
Alright, so back to Article 9. Do you want to motion that one? The narrative is just the quick start.
Yeah, so move that one as printed in warrant.
As in the handout, handout.
I have written handout, and I keep saying warrant, I apologize. Yeah, handout.
Okay.
Okay.
And then, after you move it, we'll second it, and then you'll just read the narrative, because this one is presented by us. By the
Okay.
Board of Selectmen. And then, I guess I can do 10.
Do we want, on 9, can we have the police chief speak to that or no?
I'm gonna have to write it because
For
there's
nine?
a copy machine. you
For
can
nine?
hold.
For 9. So 9's police, but
Other copy.
the 1% wage.
the police chief can if you want, but
He-
typically
he
he
won't.
doesn't
No,
negotiate.
usually
Okay.
it's this
If
one.
it's a
Okay.
wage thing, then board selectmen, there's all the negotiations.
Awesome.
about the chief.
We proposed the, contract, so, that's
Gotcha.
one of our,
If you get questions,
Sure, oh yeah. You're right.
although, what I normally do is kind of cut that off at some point and say that the town doesn't get to vote on the contract. All they get to do is vote on the appropriation, so they get too deep into the weeds about whatever, uniform allowances, or whatever. Probably try to redirect that back out and say, you know, we're having to pay what the contract is allowed, but you don't get to vote on it, you go on the contract. You negotiate the contract.
Gotcha.
And you're signed by both parties already.
Yep.
So it's, you know,
So it's a done deal.
yeah, we voted them before the last meeting.
Awesome.
and that's what-
So, So you'll do 9, I'll do 10, 12 in this, right?
Yep.
What about ours?
Well, I'll take $150.
You know what it is? It's Plymouth County Cooperative. Yeah.
So Alex, this is you?
Yep.
So you'll have to read the narrative after you move it and we second it.
Awesome.
15.
So everything is majority vote, that's what I've been looking through to see if there's anything lack. Majority vote.
The last
The
one.
43.
The 43. 43 is the exception.
That's the marijuana.
Zoning.
Wow.
So that's a 2/3 vote. By the way, are we using,
Yes, 43
Red and
to
green.
30.
Red and green
no
cards.
voice,
Red and green cards. It's very smooth.
Should change.
You're not colorblind, right?
You joked, but we did have a colorblind moderator.
Out of here.
Yeah.
But for future reference, the bylaw says it's going to be a voice vote.
Okay.
I'm going to change that. Don't quote my last name, look at the town meeting.
I think we adopted it for the COVID
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
initially.
Who has the contract?
If we have a standing vote, you mean?
No, we need red cards. But you're not going to.
You. You'll be able to tell right away.
2/3
Right, but I
vote.
don't give numbers.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
I see majority.
Majority or unanimous.
Alright, so this is, sorry about this, but,
Oh, you know what? Let me give him
2/3.
9.
2/3 is a little
so
tougher.
tell me.
Selectmen, and if you look at the statute and bylaws, the selectmen can, the moderator can, vote.
Yes.
I'm gonna give you 9,
Madam Chair.
so that you have a typo.
This is 19.
I'll take first.
Already, yeah.
That's what
But
it
he
was,
could
right?
write this now.
Yeah.
It said he could, it was on,
Yeah.
it's that.
Yeah, but it's challenging.
So that's a new vote.
So that replaces the old.
I will.
That's the new motion for 19.
So Sandy, this is not going to be voted over next year? No. Okay.
It's a second, we have a second.
So this item has to be read.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the fun part.
Yeah, right.
So is the same narrative though?
Yes.
Yeah, same narrative. I believe Steve will speak to that.
I think he will too.
Yeah. 19. Sorry, we jumped to
Jumped again.
the, they finally gave us copies of 19.
I gotta check with Steve on this one, make sure he'll fix it.
I think he will.
I hope he will.
I'm pretty sure because and he's the one who called me in the afternoon to let me know Friday afternoon after everything's all printed.
Okay.
Or Monday.
Okay.
Monday, I think.
And it was Monday, yeah?
Yeah.
So read the motion, then ask Steve Hayward to come up with
Yeah.
the narrative.
You gotta wait for somebody to second it. and then-
Your motion will get seconded and then you can say what, department I'd like to speak to it. Or John will say, with the highway surveyor, I'd like to speak to it.
Okay.
Sorry, we're jumping back.
We're on
So who
15.
we skip? 15?
15.
I can move it, and then I'll take a second, and then the police chief will speak on it. And then 16, this is the police chief one again, you wanna move this one?
Sure.
18.
You have 18? Sorry.
No, no, it's-
You want that
I'll
one?
give you 2 in a row then.
That's,
well, if they don't get called in order, then,
yeah, that's,
well, I mean, they might now, but normally they don't get called in order.
And
So we
hopefully
did,
that
So
turkey will
18
be
gallons.
this one.
Okay, okay. And then you would put 60, right?
I have, yep, 216, yep.
so then we have 19, the next one should be 23, is that right?
Yep.
19, Alex, you're doing 19?
Yes.
Okay.
23. You want this one?
Yeah, sure.
24. We can do this one. So 24.
Do 25.
45 is Alex.
27. fire chief's gonna speak on that.
Okay.
Is the, back to 25.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna ask if the head wants to come up.
Yeah.
That was
So
the
25.
That was the,
25 would be Gene Gillon.
Yep.
Yeah.
And 27 will be.
27 would be Jason.
and, sorry, 27.
Me.
Is Ashley.
And then 30. Bill. This is the water superintendent, so
Okay.
you want to move it?
Sure.
Then 31.
Give me one.
Step on 41,
So 31 is myself.
31, 31 is doing
No,
that?
30.
Oh, wait,
30 is you.
No, 30, yep, sorry, guys.
Yeah, now on 31, right?
31 is Alex.
Okay. Michael's, back.
34.
31 is Alex. Yep. Okay.
I'll say 34.
34.
36.
36. Bingo. Can do 36.
You have to read the narrative on this one, this is one of ours.
Okay.
I can move it.
Smart belt is to Passover.
Yeah, this is.
One of them is Passover.
37.
37 is Passover.
37 is Passover, yes.
All right, so I'll move to pass it over.
Well,
Or no, actually.
no, that's the correct motion, it's just that it's the finance committee's thing, they should come, but they can speak to why they want to pass it over to
I will ask them, I don't know.
whoever.
Yep.
Yep.
Whoever, somebody's gonna say, I'm gonna pass this over for the.
Okay.
Got you at?
Yeah, I'll move to pass it over in a second, and then we'll ask them.
Burn must have wrote that in.
What?
That was first. The one is clean, clean.
We gotta go with the 5 number 4, and I haven't seen it yet.
No, that,
No, it says no action be taken, I see that. So we're gonna pass this.
39.
Yep.
39. Oh, this is the stormwater management.
Right. Now Ed said he could talk to that.
Good, you're a good man, Charlie Brown.
So you guys move it.
This one's written in one.
Right.
That says Warren, is that correct?
That
No,
is
it's-
correct.
Yeah.
It's about 10 pages long,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
okay.
You wanna move this one?
Sure.
And for you guys' information, is that the regulations have already been adopted by the Board of Health.
No.
So this makes it official, but they already adopted the regulations based on the recommendation of the consultant, so.
And in the handout, see, you print the whole thing, right?
No.
Yeah,
No.
Oh, we wrote it written in the warrant.
Right.
All right, so we
So
are
that's
the
why-
warrant one.
Well, let's hopefully they have their warrants, because I had not one.
That's right. It's too huge. No one read it. And
it's
I know.
it's like stereo instructions.
I know.
It's rough.
Yeah.
The clerk has water address. So
And I
we watch
thought,
them,
yeah, okay.
we can look at the official warrant.
Oh, the one that we have.
Page one, page
Yes,
one.
exactly.
I can move 40. And the fire chief is gonna speak on it. And then 42. All right, so this is the 5 overboard one. This is where you guys come into play.
Uh-oh.
Wait, we weren't playing along before that?
What have I been doing?
What do you want to do about this one?
It's tough because I know I'm hesitant on getting behind this one, but I don't know if at this town meeting is it the wishes of our current select board or is it the wishes of our previous select board?
So that's where you
Yeah.
two come into play, and if we can pass it over.
You can't pass it over.
I like to give, I don't know, I'd like to give the people the chance to weigh in on it though. Just because I disagree doesn't mean that the town
Well, if Alex
necessarily.
disagrees with the board doesn't recommend.
Yeah, no,
it.
and Alex, feel free. If you want to give the town a chance to go for it, and if you're behind it, go for it.
I think that I'd rather let the townspeople vote on it.
Absolutely.
So then, I guess what you need to do is take a vote
So we
amongst
have-
yourself whether the selectmen recommend or don't recommend. So,
Yeah.
This is the selectmen's meeting.
Right.
Correct. So I will vote no, but I, okay, make the motion, sorry, follow procedure.
Do we have to make a motion for you as chair?
No, not today. I become acting, so it's like,
Okay.
we'll do that at our next meeting, but it's not on our agenda.
Okay.
So because there's no chair anymore,
It goes to vice.
she is vice chair, who is supposed to be chair in the absence of the regular chair. Since there's no regular chair, she is the chair for purposes of this meeting and any other meetings until you organize.
Got it.
So we would need a motion to recommend Article 42 to move the Board of Selectmen to a 5-member board.
So Alex would likely make that motion because that's,
I make a motion to include Article 42 as written at town meeting.
you have to make a motion, you're
No, no, no.
making a
We
motion
have to
whether to
recommend.
recommend it or not
So
recommend it.
if you
because
don't
yes.
recommend this, if you don't agree with it,
Yes.
then we don't have a general consensus of the board to recommend it because,
Or you can just say the Board of Selectmen do not recommend. Or do not have
But we-
recommended.
put the article.
Selectmen's article, so you have to pass over.
Oh,
right, that's what I'm trying to say. We're either passing it over or we're recommending
What
it.
your explanation could be is that, well, then we consider that what we're going to do.
Well-
That's what you.
The explanation could just be that we now have a new board and we're going to wait until the special.
no, I feel, if I can speak freely, I feel that just because I'm not behind it doesn't mean I'm completely for passing this over. So I think in that, if it's our choice of as is or passing over completely, I think we should give it to the people then, so.
That would mean you have to roll.
Which means you can bring it up at another time. It's not, it doesn't, unlike a zoning thing, that says, no, you can't bring it up this, bring it up the next special town meeting, annual town meeting, anytime.
When's the next special?
Probably September. I'm all for whatever you do because I have no feeling on it. I want to back the new board.
Sure.
So if the two of you want to pass this over until the special and see how it goes between now and then,
Yeah.
I'm also okay with that.
I might be for that as well, where we've had such turnover now. I feel like to put us even more in flux. Let's get our feet under us for a little bit.
Actually,
You know, let's try and see how we do before we decide to change what we haven't even really started yet.
So I'm going to move to pass this article over due to the most recent election results. Can I do that? How do you want me to phrase that?
You can say anything you want, but you might want to just say that the board would like to reconsider, would like to research this a little bit. So, you know, not every town has 5, sometimes it's easier to work with 3, sometimes it's better with 5. I mean, there's a lot of practical reasons involved. So my recommendation, not to get this, my recommendation, you know, the board's reconsidered this and we'd like to have a little bit more time.
Yeah, and I love the idea of we want to come back during special, you know, if they want to put it on special, put it on.
Right. When I'm passing over, it just means you take no action on it, and you haven't approved it, the town hasn't approved it, hasn't, denied it, again, we come back anytime.
Again, yeah, I mean, I don't mind giving it to the people, but I also kind of would like to give this new board a little bit of a shot before we completely throw things to the wind again.
I mean, if the board is something, some big change, opinions are, if you're going to propose something like this, we really want to have good reasons. Some change.
Sure.
So. You don't have to listen to me.
Have fun with that one, Ash.
Fine. And I want to stand behind the new board and
So do we have to vote to not recommend it tonight?
So I would need a motion
Yeah.
to pass over Article 42.
Right. And you would explain, give your rationale.
Pass over and take no action to allow the board to take more time to research. I think it's horrible.
You'll figure it out.
It's hard for me to spit that out because they know I've researched it. They know I went through Ed, they know I went through council, and they saw my meetings of why I think we should do this. So I'm not 100% on board of why we're passing it over, but I will say it.
Okay.
Again, this is a body, is the board selected, and the body works by majority votes. And you can have a second opinion. So that doesn't mean you can't speak on it, or even if you wanted to, you could make a motion to approve it. You could give one to the board, and you can do that, and then still go up.
So I will motion to, I need a motion to pass it over, Article 42.
I make a motion to pass over Article 42.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous, yeah.
Just to make you all feel better, the legislature, this is a request for the legislature to adopt legislation. They're scheduled to adjourn on July 31st. They're not reconvening until January. There's going to be a new legislature. They're not going to act on something that's filed this late in May,
Yeah,
late in the season.
Oh,
You're
really?
not losing any time
Okay.
at all. So if you want to do it in the fall, you'll be
The
exactly
exact same vote.
Right.
on time.
So we're not losing any time. That's
You're
a
not
that's a
losing any
great
time.
qualifier to make, I think.
Right. And then Article 43 is the last one. Lots of that. The last one we did last Monday, the person who put these on never got up to top.
I don't think he was
This
there.
one was wrong before you adjourned.
So that's gonna be the first one, right?
This will be our
This will be the
first.
first one we do, right? Because it was already drawn, but the person who proposed this never
Wasn't there.
came to speak because they had two of them. So maybe they'll speak to this one, I'm not sure.
So, this is how this will work, is if the person who makes the argument has the right to make the motion, has the right to speak to it first. If he doesn't show up, or he doesn't make a motion, it can just not, unless somebody else jumps in and says, all right, I'm gonna move it, and I'm gonna second it, so we can debate it, or pass it over, or whatever we want to do. But if there's no motion, then it just doesn't.
Okay.
Because if you folks aren't in favor of it, if you don't want to get involved in it, or whatever,
We never recommended this. We never got to it, Gordon and I, right? I'm pretty sure, and according to our notes, it was just the planning board and FinCom, because we didn't have another meeting since they had their recommendations. Remember, we were.
They had their here,
Right.
that's the plan.
Yeah.
Plan board, did they, yeah, then they had their votes, so I think it's in the next.
So the planning
I
board.
think you're right, I think Gordon said, let's not vote on it until after the planning board meets.
All the procedural steps are in order, when we do the moving by the way, you need the procedural steps, the planning board has to have a meeting hearing, and the issue of the board, please provide the recommendation if you want to, that there's two full votes. But on a simple castle, just a change.
Yeah, I don't think we should pass this one over, I think we should move it. The planning board and FinCom recommend. So it would limit the number of marijuana establishments in town, I think to 2. So then that would come down to our discussion. We would need to decide if we want to recommend or not recommend.
What was the recommendation from the planning board?
They recommend it, so does FinCom recommend it.
So you have a FinCom recommendation and a planning board recommendation.
Yep. I would say that I would agree with planning and FinCom, that's my opinion.
I tend to agree too.
So I would look for a motion for the Board of Selectmen to recommend Article 43.
I make a motion to recommend Article 43 as printed in the law, it says here in the warrant.
Tammy?
Yes, because we did not change this at all
Okay.
in the motion, because we didn't have to, number one, because there's no money, so we didn't have to have a funding source. So it can be done as legitimate warrant, because that's what it says in the handout anyway, so.
So there's a motion on the table, I need a second.
Second.
All
Are you
those,
folks going to move that article?
Yeah.
Wait,
We're
going to speak to it, or is
we're gonna see if they're gonna speak to it. If not, then whoever moves it will just read the article and limit the number of marijuana establishments in town, and we'll go from there. You wanna move it?
Sure.
So you can move it, one second, and then if this person, I don't remember who, Paul Reed.
I'll read.
Yeah.
If Paul Reed isn't here, we can just read that one sentence narrative and you can open it up to. So now we also recommend. And this is 2/3, but this is the one 2/3.
it's a zoning whoever's on it, too,
How do you feel?
Oh, like $1 million. That's it. Oh, I like that.
It's a natural.
That's good. Awesome. Thank you very much for.
Yeah, thank you for helping.
This
So
doesn't
last
happen
minute.
without you here, yeah. Swooping in and saving the day. Oh, you'll do fine.
First two pitches.
You'll just get them over the plate. You'll do fine.
Do you guys have any other questions before going into this?
No, trial by fire, I like it.
Yep. Couple hours, ready to roll.
Paul, do you have anything?
Sounds good. Do you want us to email you to set up the,
Oh, yeah, Paul, I
Yes.
gave you their cell phone numbers, right? Did you get my email?
I did get your,
Okay, yeah,
they need to be set up with
I know,
Halifax
they do.
emails.
Steve already has the emails, the pops, everything ready to go. He's gonna talk to them once we get out of here.
Okay,
We already
great.
was
All
on
right.
him about that. And
Awesome.
then Pam and I were thinking we'll do our next meeting next Tuesday, a week from tomorrow. We just need a timing, because we're gonna need, we have a hearing.
Yeah, and I'm gonna call them tomorrow to see if they can all come.
Yeah.
And I know they probably, hoping that as long as I get my new door, I can call you right away, so
Okay.
I'll call them first thing tomorrow morning.
Can both of you do 5 o'clock next Tuesday?
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we want to get into this going forward, but can we look to move them a little bit later? Back to kind of like the 6:30 time slot? I mean, I know Alex, it's tough because you're working, so give you extra time
Yeah,
to get. But I don't know.
Why don't we see what time the hearing, what time they can
What
do
time they
hearing?
can come in, and I'll let you guys.
And then let us know.
Okay.
And then
So we're
the
thinking
next
you guys-
meeting, we'll talk about timing and all that when we organize.
So you guys thinking more or less 5:30 for the happy ride and try to
Yeah,
get
sure.
that involved?
Try 5:30 then, we'll do it a little bit later.
5:30, we're gonna do 5:30, so close to, okay, I'm gonna call them.
All right.
Well,
24.
Check my calendar before I look at it. All right.
All right.
Madam Chair, two things. One of the things that's on your agenda tonight is talking about the solid waste contract, right? That was posted. And to let everybody know that the solid waste contract we have right now in the town of Halifax expires at the end of June. All right? So you need to be thinking about what the long-term project is going to be for solid waste. Because companies are getting out of getting their people out of the truck and picking up bags, and picking up trash, and they're all going to the mechanized system where you have the toters and they come back and they just they mechanically lift it up, put it in the truck. So that's going to be something you need to be thinking about going forward. Now, because your contract with Waste Management expires in a month, you're probably going to be thinking about, instead of telling the people in Halifax and the 3,500 homes that are in town that, oh, by the way, in a month, you're going to go to mechanized situation. That's not going to work, and logistically, it's not going to work anyway. So you're probably going to need to have a one-year deal with Waste Management eat whatever increase they are gonna pass along for the 1 year, and then be thinking about the long-term, possibly 3 to 5 year contract with somebody, and looking at going to curbside toters and recycling. So, so that's something that
You
we.
may, right, you may want to put it on your agenda sooner rather than later.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
In
so
fact,
maybe the next.
Can't do you want to put that on the next
Put it on
agenda?
Tuesday?
and I'll get you whatever information we've got beforehand so that you can make an informed decision when you meet next Tuesday. Okay?
Terrific.
Maybe ask Sue to come, Sue Johnston,
Pardon?
see if we could get Sue Johnston to come into the meeting.
Oh, sure, yeah. And maybe Todd kept the DEP guy.
Todd would be great,
Yeah,
yeah.
so.
What about some figures about what we have on, is it an enterprise fund, is that what it is? How does that-
Solid waste is an enterprise fund. We do not have a lot of retained earnings in that enterprise fund. We've kept the recycling fee low at $50 a year, and because of that, we have not been able to build up a lot. We had a real dip in the value of recyclables for a while. It is starting to go back up. We are starting to be able to sell our recyclables again, but it's not what it used to be. So this is all things that Sue can touch on where her revenues are coming from for the recyclables. But yes, and basically I do a cash flow at the end of every fiscal year. It shows you, this is what we brought in for recycling, and this is how much the recycling program cost us. This is how much we brought in for trash, and this is how much the trash program cost us. Just so that you can get an idea of how much it's pulling its own weight. Recycling has been doing okay, but not making a lot of extra money.
Yeah, so, as the same said, the recycling building goes out and it's worth about $158,000. There's about $13,000 every year that are issued in rebates. So the net is around $145,000 from the recycling notices that go out, okay, that $50. And then the money that, and I'll be talking to our recycling person, because there's an additional $300,000 that is generated every year by those bags that people buy.
Right.
Okay?
That's what
And
pays
whatever
out
the
that.
size, and I'll get more, I'll try to track that soon, but anyway. But anyway, we'll have all that stuff for you guys when you meet again, so. And number 2, Bernie Lynch from Community Paradigm. I know he doesn't know about you two guys yet. Ashley, have you heard from him?
I had nothing to do with it. Gordon was
Okay.
taking the lead on that.
All right. So I left him an email today, the company's email, to let him know that there was an election on Saturday. We have 2 new persons, and, you know, let's get the ball rolling and finding folks for a permanent town administrator.
Thank you. Thank you, Ed.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate it. Before we adjourn, guys, and Alex and Ashley, can we just circle back to 43 real quick? If I am to speak to it, I just want to make sure I'm speaking for the whole board as to why we are in approval of Article 43, in case Mr. Reed is not there.
Well, we would read the narrative, that they would.
Yeah, no, I just our, what's behind our approval.
I stand with the planning board.
Stand with that.
That's my personal opinion, but
Okay.
I also don't think that we should overpopulate, because then we're not gonna let the ones in here be able to be like. That's
Okay. No, I'm in step with that, but I just want to make sure if I'm speaking for you guys, I want to make sure I'm actually speaking for you guys.
What's your feeling?
Same, yeah.
And one more little announcement. If you don't know, tomorrow we're closing the ponds for the treatment.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
So if you want a copy of the announcement and or the email from the health agent to the appropriate department heads by closing the boat ramps tomorrow.
Could we make that during the meeting, that announcement to people, or just to give a reminder? Or, I don't know if that's okay with, is that okay?
Yeah.
So Mr. Moderator, make that announcement? Putting you to work.
That's what's on the town website. Correct, Caesar? Correct.
Just a good reminder where the weather's so nice lately. Make sure everybody stays out and walk.
Over 90 days.
Is that a 90 day?
90 days is fine.
Oh, no, it just says the water from the ponds cannot be used for irrigation. Okay?
Yeah, we
It's just gonna be closed for 1 day.
Oh, we're gonna get in
Oh,
trouble.
August. Like, don't read that. Don't read that. Forget it.
Second,
Pass
throw that away.
The ponds will be closed for all water uses, including boating, fishing, and swimming, on the day of treatment only.
Oh, that's a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, we say that. Good luck, John.
There you go.
Yeah.
Someone just asked if you guys are ready to move to continue moving to attend the annual town meeting, to continue your meeting on town meeting floor. That's how we would adjourn.
Right.
We normally would at a regular board meeting. So that's how you have to make a motion or whatever.
So we did a motion to continue our meeting to the annual town.
I will make a motion to continue this meeting to our annual town meeting.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.